It is now time for our scripture reading. And my scripture today is John chapter 15, verses 1 through 5. I am the true vine, and my Father is the laborer. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he cuts off. And the one which bears fruit, he prunes so that it may bring forth more fruit. You have already been pruned because of the word which I have spoken to you. Remain with me, and I with you. Just as a branch cannot give fruit by itself unless it remains on the vine, even so you cannot unless you remain with me. I am the vine. You are the branches. He who remains with me, and I with him, will bear abundant fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. And this ends the reading of our scripture, John chapter 15, verses 1 through 5. And again, I say to you, good morning. It's a new year. It's a new beginning. For some of us, the new year triggers an urge to shed away the old and welcome the new. It's not only a reset of the calendar, but it's also a reset of our life, a reset of our goals and expectations. Our spirit is urging us to let go of the past and look forward to all the magnificent possibilities. And this reset, it's a part of the cycle of growth. Pruning and refocusing are vital to the health of our spirit. In this scripture, Jesus says, I am the true vine, and God is the laborer. And in the text of the scripture, the words I am are in all caps. When they appear in all caps, this represents the I am, or the God within us. And here, Jesus is telling us the I am, or the Spirit of God within us, is the vine of our life. It is the life force. It nourishes our spirit and maintains the health of our spiritual body. When we connect ourselves to the source, we revitalize and feed our soul. During my fiscal year end, I work long, hard days, and I pack as much as I can into every day. I go from the time I pick up my head off the pillow in the morning until the time I sit down on the couch late in the evening after dinner. One evening, I was sitting in Tuesday meditation, and as I was in meditation, I envisioned myself immersed in the healing light of God, as we did in our meditation today. And I could feel my spirit soaking up the nourishment. I was like a sponge. And afterwards, I felt refreshed, rejuvenated, as though my batteries had been charged. And it reminded me how important it is to feed our soul. You know, it's interesting. We make the time to feed our physical body 2 to 3 times a day. But are we making the time to feed our soul? The scripture goes on to say that God is the laborer, and every branch that does not bear fruit, God will cut off. And the ones that bear fruit will be pruned so they can bring forth even more fruit. For those of you who are gardeners, you may know pruning is necessary for the health and vitality of the trees and plants. It should be done carefully and intentionally. And when it's done right, it will encourage the new growth. But we have to be careful. If we cut away too much, then the stem or our branch or us may not be able to repair itself and will eventually wither. Likewise, when we prune skillfully and with intention, this pruning will make the tree or plant healthier and encourage new and more magnificent growth, just as with us. When I lived in Southern California, when I would walk to the gym, I walked through a Japanese neighborhood. And on my way, I passed several homes that had these beautiful gardens adorned with bonsai trees. And there was a particular way that a bonsai tree has to be pruned. And I would watch and wonder as these gardeners skillfully prune stem by stem. It was a slow and arduous process, not buzz, buzz, chop, chop. They had these tiny little pair of hand shears. They would carefully select everything that they would prune in order for the bonsai to grow just right. We want to be like this bonsai pruner. And we begin this process by tuning in to the I am, or God within us, for guidance before we just start cutting things off and chopping them away. And here we will be guided to strategically select what needs to be pruned and in what measure, so that this pruning will help flourish and bring forth a new growth. Carefully pruning what is growing fruit in our life, so it will bring even greater abundance. God is our nourishment, and this life force flows from the vine to the branches. God and the universe will work with us to help keep us on the path of rightful living, so we may enjoy a fruitful and prosperous life. God will guide us to cut away the branches that don't bear fruit. If we don't make a conscious effort of letting go of what doesn't work for us and what doesn't bear fruit, then eventually these choices may be forced upon us. If we hold on too long, the universe may step in and create situations in our life for the dead branches to be cut away. So we have a choice. Either we can take the first step, which in my opinion is easier, or we can wait for the universe to force us into taking these steps. Somehow, when it's our idea, it feels a little bit better than being forced upon us. I will always remember what somebody said to me years ago. The Native Americans have a saying, if it doesn't grow corn, get rid of it. If it doesn't serve you, let it go. Why hold on to something that is holding you back? Why hold on to it? It's taking your precious resources from what you really want. Pruning promotes new growth. And when we remove the struggling branches or what's not working for us, then all the nutrients and our resources can be dedicated to what is growing or the new life that we want to bring forth. We want to intentionally nourish the seeds we want to grow in our garden of life. And newsflash, we don't have to wait for the new year to prune. It is a continual process of shedding the old. And we prune not only spiritually, but we prune our mental bodies, our emotional bodies, and our physical bodies. So I encourage you to take the first step. Quiet your mind and ask your spirit, what is it I need to let go of? Our spirit and our intuition will guide us. They won't let us down. Our intuition is our inner compass, and it will keep us on our life path, moving in the direction that we need to go. And as I mentioned, we not only want to prune our spiritual body, but also our physical, mental, and emotional bodies. Perhaps pruning away unhealthy lifestyles or unproductive thinking. If we are unbalanced in one area, it will affect the others. For example, how we think affects all areas of our life. Our scripture says, as we thinketh in our heart, so are we. And guess what? If that's what we're thinking, then that is exactly what we will be. We will draw to us what we think. What does that mean? It means if we want to change, then changing the way we think is a really good place to start. And there are some situations that are not ours to change. They're not ours. But what is ours and what we can do is we can change the way we think about it. As we go through this process of pruning, sometimes this means being willing to take things off the shelf that we have neatly tucked away because it may be too uncomfortable or painful to face them. Trust in God. Trust and know you have a safe space in your meditation and with God to work through these issues. Because we don't want to hold on to those thoughts or those emotions, because sometimes they can fester into things that we don't want, and they can be toxic to our spirit. They serve no purpose, and they may just be holding us back from what we really want. So the sooner we face them, the sooner we can heal. The sooner we can bring healing into those areas of our life. Release them and move forward. Forgiveness is another way that we prune. It is a powerful tool, and it can bring a lot of healing to us. We may think that when we forgive, we are doing it for the other person. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. In all actuality, when we forgive, we are doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for us. And the reason why is that when we don't forgive, then we are holding on to that negative energy. And it is like an open wound that can't heal and festers. Doesn't hurt that person. Nope. They don't even know. It hurts us. But when we forgive and let go and release it to God, we free ourselves. We free our spirit of this burden. And after we do so, our spirit is lighter. And now our consciousness is free to focus on what makes us happy, to focus on what brings us joy. So forgive. Forgive and let go. Our scripture says God is the laborer, helping and guiding us through our challenges and growth. Trust. The scripture says, remain with me, and I will remain with you. Stay connected, and God's beacon of light will always guide you through the storms of life. When we overcome our challenges, oh, how we appreciate the sweetness of our accomplishments all the more. Just as the branch cannot give fruit by itself unless it remains on the vine, even so, you cannot unless you remain with me. I am the vine. You are the branches. God is the vine, and we are the branch, or expression of God. The life force from the vine continually feeds the branches. But once that life force is blocked from feeding the branches, it begins to wither. So stay connected. Stay connected to the source. Our spiritual health, it's not a once-a-year tune-up on New Year's Day. It's a continual process. God is always with us and always within us. We just need to be aware. Trust and allow your spirit to guide you. As we embark on this new year, be mindful to stay connected to the source of God for your spiritual health. This will not only nourish our spiritual body, but also the physical, mental, and emotional bodies. Prune with intention and with purpose, allowing the nourishment to feed what is blossoming and making space in your consciousness for the new seeds you want to plant, feeding the garden you want to grow. He who remains with me and I with him will bear abundant fruit. Namaste.